a little bit about the Near ecosystem. I said in the intro that there's nearly 100 million, according to DeFi Llama, 84 million TVL across a variety of DeFi, predominantly DeFi protocols. The biggest ones is Ref Finance, which is a DEX, then Metapool, we already talked about it, liquid staking, and Burrow, which is a lending protocol. So yeah, maybe talk a little bit about the landscape and also like the Near ecosystem, and also what do you think about sort of enterprise adoption? Like, is that something that you see Near also play a role in, or are you more focused on retail?
Yeah, so Near ecosystem, I mean, you just read obviously some of the DeFi projects, which is definitely not everything. Also, Aurora has a separate dashboard, so it has its own 75 million. So yeah, so I mean, obviously there's a lot of financial primitives that are needed and kind of been built. I did mention Orderly because I think it's a really interesting, but there's also 2 on-chain order book DEXs, Spin and Tonic, which have been doing pretty well. And so kind of that's like a, I would say the foundational DeFi infra that then being used by other applications. And so the really interesting actual use cases are things like Sweatcoin, right? It's like move to earn type experience. It's actually a very like a traditional app that's been around for 7 years that just introduced blockchain, and they have 120 million installs. And so they actually brought like a ton of users into the space because these were not users who existed in crypto before. There's Play Ember, which is like a kind of casual game studio, which has like 4 or 5 million kind of monthly active users that they're also bringing over time to the ecosystem by introducing into this game's crypto mechanics. And so like applications like that is what's really interesting, is like taking existing Web2 use cases or kind of with user bases and bringing them into Web3 by like starting to introduce. And this is where Near is extremely well positioned because of the usability, right? Because we actually make it really easy and kind of straightforward to build this experience for this Web2 application. So they don't need to rework everything to do this. And so that's been a big focus, is like, and this brings users, right? That's the most important. Like at the end, it's all cool. We build a lot of cool stuff, but then nobody uses it, right? That's not good. So like, how do we bring this user bases? On enterprise side, there's definitely, a bunch of things going on. And so we actually have a really interesting startup in the ecosystem called Calimero Network, which is a private shards. So this is the idea of running pretty much a shard of Near, but inside the enterprise or a company behind the firewall. And so you still have interlinked with the public chain. You kind of registered there. You have the hashes of all your data is there, but the transactions and state is all sits within the firewall. But the cool thing, because it's interleaved, you can actually talk to other private shards, and smart contracts of Near and this private shard can talk to each other within whatever rules you set up. And so that kind of, and like wallets work exactly the same. So it kind of creates a feel of the same space, even though these smart contracts and this state and these transactions are hidden behind the firewall. So there's like kind of lots of tooling around to do some of these enterprise use cases. And so, we'll see some of the adoption coming in probably maybe slowed down by last year's events, but still.
Yeah, I feel like organizations or enterprises, they're more interested when prices go up. So let's see. One last thing before I ask you about the blockchain and AI narrative. I guess the soul of any crypto project is the community, right? So what is the current state of the Near community, and how does governance work on Near?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I mentioned community is very kind of broad and decentralized. I think we have a lot of like East Asia support, a lot of Eastern Europe, and then Western Europe, US, and like we continue trying to grow presence in LATAM and Africa. We have, and so
there's Latinos in the chat.
Yeah,
there we go.
Okay. And so like we've been trying to set up these hubs. Awesome. And so the hubs, kind of the presences around the world, which kind of create this like crystallize the community, help, build projects, as well as educate, as well as, market, as well as organize events, like do all those things. And so, some of it is then ambassadors of all of the projects. Some of it like becomes their own thing. Some of them build their own projects. So like it kind of varies, but like we've been kind of creating this decentralized presence as we decentralize in the organization itself. And we've spun out a bunch of companies outside of kind of the initial core team. And so like they all became kind of this organizations around the ecosystem that are focused on different aspects of the ecosystem. Like we have a gaming guild, right? Which like they've worked with 100 gaming developers to build different. We have DeFi, Proximity is working with, tons of DeFi projects. We have, kind of eco funds that are funding companies. We have, those hubs that are working with like enterprises or with startups. So like kind of the idea is like to create like a very vibrant and decentralized ecosystem. And now then the governance question comes in. It's like, okay, well, how do you like rowdy this up? And so we started this initiative called Near Digital Collective, which is the idea was like, how do we wrap this into like some form of more formal decision making than just kind of, shouting at each other on the forum. And so we have that work in progress. There's like first versions rolling out, and then it's kind of with idea of continuously iterating on this. So like stay tuned for like first version of NDC is rolling out, and then but like it will follow with like more and more updates as well.
So as of right now, is there no kind of like on-chain governance framework that's in production, or?
Not yet. Yeah, it's like a combination. So right now the governance is combination of like individual pieces. Like we have a marketing DAO, which is on-chain, like marketing, like they can fund marketing requests. We have, developer DAO, which funds developer stuff. They also have developer governance. They have a protocol working group. They have, with its own votes. We have, so, and then like my belief is like having one big governance of token holders is not the right approach, right? Like this is something like you should only ask like as a final resort if like everybody disagreed with everyone and like everybody, like then you go to that. But you should have like a lot of local governance kind of bodies that are specialized in their specific function. And so they focus there, they're experts, they know exactly what, they have potentially vision, or they like work, from input on community, and they drive that, right? So like we have protocol working group, right, which is like includes, 2 or 3 different companies. We have, as I said, marketing DAO, which includes like different people from the ecosystem, the marketing, like who can fund different aspects. So like that, and like we're trying to start more of these kind of smaller things, and then NDC will be kind of more of a oversight and like larger like fund of fund funding function, right? Where it's like, okay, well, we allocate, $2 million for marketing DAO for next quarter, right? They done a great job, or they done poor job, we're gonna allocate only $500,000. We'll try to RFP another one to see maybe somebody will do better, right? So like kind of more macro decisions versus like, hey, should we do this, specific thing or not?
Yeah.